How's it going, guys? It's K Cars, and in this video I will just go over all the rust repairs that I've done to my Jeep Cherokee XJ right here. So if you guys saw my previous video, this video is just gonna kind of be like a continuation of that video. Basically, if you guys are new to the channel, right behind me, this is my 2001 Jeep Cherokee XJ, and I recently had a whole bunch of rust repairs done to this thing. I'm trying to basically restore this thing as much as I can. This thing pretty much is a pavement princess for me, but you know, I've taken it on a few light off-roading trips. I probably will take it on a few more trails here soon. And I actually just noticed that my hood popped open while I was driving, so that's probably not good, but there we go. All right, so onto the rust repairs. Basically 4 weeks ago, I dropped this thing off at the shop for a whole bunch of rust repairs. Now what we did, if you guys remember, before I got these repairs done, I had a huge rust hole right over here on the driver's side rocker. As you guys know, these old Jeeps are known for having these rust issues, especially back here on the rockers and the rear lower quarter panels back here. So right there, if you guys can see that, that's also a pretty bad spot, as well as the back of the frame right there. So there's the other side. So if we look at the passenger side right over here, it's not as bad as the driver's side, but you can see it definitely is starting to rust there on the bottom. Now if we go over to the other side, the passenger side right here, it wasn't as bad, but it was starting to rust over like down on the pinch welds down here, and also on the bottom in the very back right here. And then also, you guys probably know, these Jeeps are known for having rust problems on the rear lower quarter panels back here. So we got those fixed up as well. So that's pretty much all the rust repairs that I got done to this Jeep. So like I said, the inner and outer rockers on both sides, the inner and outer rear lower quarter panels on both sides, and then they also did some rust removal from the underside, just like with a wire brush and stuff like that. And then they also applied fluid film to the bottom, so you can probably still see some of it back here. So they resprayed the fluid film in the back. You can kind of still see it right there on that bolt and on the frame a little bit. Yeah, right there you can see it. So the reason I'm making this video again is that I had to take the Jeep back to the shop to get a few spots touched up. Of course, it's not a big deal. It's, you know, it's not going to be perfect, but I just got the Jeep back from the shop, so I'm going to go over the little spots that we had to get touched up here. So over here on the driver's side rocker, you can kind of barely see it, but this spot right over here, there was a little bit of primer overspray. So of course it's a hard to reach spot, so it's kind of understandable why there would be some overspray right there. There was also some on the corner of the door right there, and there was also some right over here. So I believe what they did to get that off was just rub it down with like acetone. I think that's what I was told. So they got that fixed up pretty good. And then some of the other spots, this one was on the passenger side rocker panel. So if you guys remember from the previous video, I told you guys that they cut and welded right over here, pretty much right over here. So this is actually the old rocker panel, and right here is the new panel. So the first time I got the Jeep back, you could see a clear line right where they made the cut. Let me open up the door here. You can just barely see where there's new paint right here. There's a line right over here. It's probably not going to show up on camera that well, but right over here is the line that you can kind of see where the old and new panels separate. So the first time I got the Jeep back, there were a whole bunch of scratches, and I can put up a picture of this if you guys want to look at it right here. So as you saw, there were a whole bunch of scratches over on this side, like right where they made the cut and welded. So I was told that the paint would be blended in, so you couldn't really tell a difference. And unless I don't have the right like understanding of what blended paint means, I don't really think it was blended very well. So took it back to the shop, got all those scratches fixed up. They actually ended up repainting the whole rocker panel this time. So I believe this is still the old panel. You can probably look underneath and see if the cut is right there. You might be able to see that, but like I said, they did replace the inner and outer, so it's a little bit easier to see the cut on the inner panel because it's, you know, it's not something that you would actually look at. So you can see the cut down there. So yeah, they pretty much repainted the whole rocker panel on this side. You can see the paint line right over here is where they repainted the whole thing. And the old paint line, you can still barely see it. It goes right up here, and then right there, you can kind of see that. If we open up this side, you can see where they painted right there. Right there's the line. Then all the way up to here. So overall, I'm happy with the actual metal replacement part that they did, but what I wasn't happy about was like the paint issues. So, you know, if I'm paying $2,400 for something like this, I understand like welding and cutting sheet metal and all that is a lot of labor, so it will be expensive. But for something that expensive, I would expect it to be near perfect. So that's why I ended up going back to the shop and having them fix up those areas. So like I said, the primer overspray on the driver's side front of the rocker was the first spot that I noticed. And then the scratches on the passenger side rocker, that was the second spot. And the third spot that I had them fix, there were actually like a few, I'm really not sure what they would be called, but I'll go ahead and put up a picture of that again right now. As you guys saw, there were these little marks on the bottom of this door right over here. At first I thought it was scratches, but then once I took a closer look, it kind of just looks like some excess clear coat that maybe they just masked off not correctly, I guess, or not as good as they should have maybe. So there's a lot of clear coat right there, and I'm not sure what they did to get that off, but as you can see, there's no more scratches anymore. So I'm really glad about that. I took the Jeep to the shop the first time. They told me it would take about 5 days, and then on the end of the 5th day, I got a call from the owner. He told me that the rocker panels were on back order, so it's going to be another week, which of course is completely understandable, especially right now when the supply chain is all messed up for pretty much everything. I was completely understanding of that. It happens all the time, and I was really glad that he actually called me to let me know that it would take a week longer, so that was completely fine. So a week went by, I got a call, he told me the Jeep's done. I was really excited. It looked really good whenever I first looked at it. So I took it home, took some closer looks, and I noticed those 3 spots. Like I said, the primer overspray, and then the scratches in the few spots on the passenger side right there. So I called them up and I asked if I could bring it back to just get those areas touched up, and they said no problem, bring it back in a few days. And so I brought it back in. I was told it would take a couple days, and a week went by. I didn't hear anything, so I called them. They told me it would be a couple days. Another week went by, and I called them again, and they told me it's done and ready to be picked up. So that's the part that I'm not really happy about. I guess they should have just communicated a little bit better. It kind of just feels like they overpromised and under-delivered. And you know, it's kind of understandable why they would do that, you know, why they wouldn't really put more effort into it, maybe, if that makes sense. And that's because I already paid for the whole project, so they don't really have any incentive to get this like out of their shop, you know. So I guess that's kind of what I think why it took so long, but they definitely should have communicated a little bit better, and honestly it should have been done right the first time too, considering how many good reviews that shop has. So I was definitely expecting higher quality work from them. Sometimes it takes a few tries to get stuff right, and I'm really glad that they were nice about it and they took it back and fixed it up for me. So guys, that's basically the whole story of all the rust repairs that I just got done to my Jeep. My Jeep was at their shop for a total of 4 weeks for something that was estimated to take 5 days. And you know, stuff like that happens. I know shops, especially body shops like this, can get pretty busy, but I'm just happy that I was able to bring it back in and they fixed it up without any issues. So really happy about that. So now for some of the next steps for this Jeep. Now, something else that I would like to do to this Jeep is actually replace the whole rear bumper. And if you guys look right here, you can see a good amount of rust. And it was recommended to me by that body shop that I either, you know, try to fix it up or just end up replacing the whole thing. So they also told me that there's a huge rust spot right underneath the bumper end cap right here. So should probably get that taken care of here soon. So what I'm thinking is I'm probably just going to end up replacing it with a brand new like OEM bumper. Obviously going to paint it blue as well, but that's probably something else that I'd like to get done with this Jeep. If you guys are pretty familiar with these XJs, then you know after lifting a Jeep XJ, there's a few different things that you would have to upgrade, or you don't have to, but it's good to upgrade. The first thing being a slip yoke eliminator and a CV drive shaft. I probably will make a whole separate video talking about this subject, but basically you can see right there, that is the transfer case, and you can see the slip yoke right there and the drive shaft going all the way back. So just a short explanation here. Whenever you lift the Jeep up, of course the body is going to go higher and the transfer case is going to go up with it. So basically that means the angle of your drive shaft is going to go from, I don't know, something like this to a little bit higher like that. And when that happens, it can cause vibrations from the drive shaft and maybe other areas as well. So slip yoke eliminator and a CV drive shaft is usually what people do if they have those issues, and that's probably the next thing that I'm going to get done to this Jeep. Basically with the stock drive shaft right there, the way that it connects to the transfer case, like I said, it is a slip yoke, so it just slips in and out of the transfer case right there. So with the slip yoke eliminator, it's going to eliminate that, and then with the new CV drive shaft, it's going to actually like slip through the drive shaft, not the actual transfer case. If I like explained that wrong, definitely let me know down in the comments, because I'm not too familiar with how that works, but I'm pretty sure that's right. Now, something else that people do, you can actually save a lot of money by doing this. If you don't want to get a brand new drive shaft, then you can actually just use a stock front drive shaft off of these XJs, because that will work if you have a slip yoke eliminator. So you can see the front right there. So I have decided to just get a brand new rear drive shaft just to replace it with a new fresh drive shaft. Now the kit that I actually went with is from Rusty's Off-Road for the NP231 transfer case. It's the Advanced Adapters Slip Yoke Eliminator Kit and the Tom Woods CV drive shaft. So I already have that ordered through the shop that's going to do the install. Same shop that did the install of the lift kit. Really happy with the work that he did, so decided to return to him for the slip yoke eliminator. Now the next weak point on a Jeep when lifting it is actually the steering. So we can look under here. You see I still have the stock tie rod and the stock drag link. Right there you can see all the steering components. So basically when you lift the Jeep and you get bigger tires, that is the next part that will likely give you issues. So that's probably what I'm thinking about upgrading as well. Like I said, I don't really off-road this thing too much or like too severely, so I'm not too worried about the steering. But if it can prevent me having issues in the future, then I think it's something that I would look into replacing and upgrading as well. I have been having a steering issue ever since I got the Jeep back from the shop the first time, so probably like 3 weeks ago I think that was. So pretty much anytime I turn, it gives me some like shaking in the steering wheel. So it kind of just feels like it's stuck in four-wheel drive, even though it's not. Anytime I turn, the wheel just shakes back and forth like that. I'll show you guys a video of that right over here. So it has gotten a little bit better, like the problem isn't as bad anymore, but it's still kind of noticeable. Some people have said I need to replace the bushings. Some people have said it could be the U-joints, so I'm not really sure. But if anybody has any suggestions for what could be causing that issue, definitely let me know down in the comments. Also, if anybody has any suggestions for upgraded steering that I could get, also let me know down in the comments below, because that's probably something that I would want to look into after getting the slip yoke eliminator. I have done some research and I've heard people have recommended the Iron Rock steering setup, or the Curry is also a good one that I've heard. I'm looking for something that's like a direct bolt-on, and I know there's also a few that are like Heim joints. But if you guys have any advice or suggestions on steering, definitely let me know down in the comments below as well. And I know that I said this thing is pretty much a pavement princess, which it is. It's my daily driver and I rely on it quite a bit, so I don't really want to destroy it off-road. But I'm thinking a few months back when this thing was completely stock, I took it on a light off-roading trail, and it was actually a lot of fun. It did very well. If you guys want to check out that video, make sure to check it out on my channel. But I'm thinking right now that it's lifted and I have these 31-inch mud tires on it, I think I'm gonna go back to that same trail and record a video for you guys and see how it does. See if it handles any different than back when it was stock. I feel like when it comes to these Jeep XJs, there's like two extremes and there's no like middle ground. With this Jeep, my goal is to make it, you know, clean, but I want to be like in that middle ground. I don't want to be like, you know, garage queen, don't even drive it at all and just restore it and that's all. And I also don't want to be the person that destroys my Jeep off-road just because it's old and beat up. I want to be kind of somewhere in the middle where I take care of it, restore it, make it look nice and clean, but also have some fun with it off-road and just do some light off-roading and just see how it handles. So that's kind of my goal with this Jeep, I guess. Like I said, it still is my daily driver and I do rely on it. So I'm not going to be doing anything too crazy. But I think going back to that same trail that I took this thing on a few months ago would be a lot of fun, and we could definitely see how it handles on this new setup. So guys, that's probably gonna do it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed going over all the rust repairs that I just got done on my Jeep, and also talking about some of the future plans that I have for this thing. So if you guys have any questions or video suggestions for videos you would like to see in the future, or any kind of suggestions like I mentioned in this video, make sure to drop those down in the comments below. And if you guys liked this video or found it entertaining, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And as always, thanks for watching.